Why don't we begin on our backs? And you can bend the knees, you can rest them together, you can open them out, you can straighten the legs, just do whatever feels comfortable to you. And I invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath in. When you exhale, relax your body down into the ground. Feel the fullness of your inhale, making space in your body, and the release of your exhale, sinking your body into the earth. Feeling the whole breath. Intentionally expanding the breath out into more and more space. So when you feel the breath coming in, notice the places that feel like they're resisting the breath, places that may be tight or holding or just habitually are not used to breathing. And when you take a deep breath, you can kind of feel those places and then try to expand the breath even more into those areas. Challenge them to grow, to open. And you can imagine on the exhale that you're releasing whatever is there that might be adding to the tightness or the restriction. And then continuing with your nice deep breathing, bend your knees and lift your feet off the ground. Feel how the tailbone curls under and the low back presses flat into the earth. And then try to keep your back pressing down using your abdominal muscles. And then just let both feet touch down and then come back up. So for me, when my feet lower, my body automatically wants to inhale for that. And see what's true for you. And just let your body's wisdom coordinate the breathing with the movement. Maybe easier for you if you exhale as you lower. Everybody's different. There's no right or wrong. But pay attention to how it is. Keep pressing the back into the ground even as the feet come down. 3 more. And then you can hug your knees into the chest. Feel the belly relaxing. The breath finding new places to open into and release stress from. And then we'll take the arms out to the side. And you can keep the knees bent, but if you're wanting to work harder, you can straighten the legs. Maybe not all the way if that's too hard, but the more you straighten it, the harder it becomes. So you choose the level of challenge that works for you. We'll start in the center with an inhale, and then we'll exhale and let the knees fall over to the left. And don't touch down. Just stop before the ground. And then inhale as you come across the center, and exhale as you lower to the right. And we'll do one more on each side. And then you'll bring the legs straight up in the air. And we'll lower down slowly, pointing and flexing the feet. Feel free to put your hands under your back. That not only makes it easier, but it makes it less of a strain on your back. So we'll control the descent, pointing and flexing. Then hover for a moment above the ground. And release the feet down. And then press into the elbows. If your hands are under your buttocks, you can leave them there. And if they're not, just make sure your arms are by your side so that you can press into your elbows. And lift your chest and drop onto the top of your head. Fold the shoulder blades in toward the spine. And breathe into the openness of your heart. If you want, you can bring your arms overhead, opening the lungs even more. If that's too much pressure on your neck, then just take your arms back down. And then wherever your arms are, have them come back by your side. Press into your elbows and lift your head. Looking at your feet, keep your head lifted. And then send your arms forward. And you can either stay here with your legs on the ground or lift your legs to work a little bit harder. And you can either continue like this with deep, slow breaths or do breath of fire, rapid breaths, pulsing in the belly. Kind of a cold day, so good opportunity to create some heat. And release down. Send the arms overhead, stretch long. Flex your feet and reach out of your heels just as you're reaching out of your hands. And then set both of your legs over to the right and cross your left ankle over your right ankle. And then bring your upper body over to the right. So you're creating a sickle with your body, like a crescent. And then take hold of the left wrist with the right hand. And just breathe as deeply as you can and notice where the body receives the breath. And you expand out even more. And then release. Take the legs over to the other side and bend your upper body over to the left. Taking hold of the left wrist with the right hand. Pulling and lengthening and breathing and stretching. Notice how the real stretching comes from the breath, from the inside. And then come back to center. Release the legs, the arms, and just take a moment here in Shavasana just to feel the body in neutral. And then bend the knees, cross the ankles, rock lengthwise on your spine, and rock all the way over onto hands and knees. So you'll flip over the ankles. And we'll just take a moment here in table with the hands under the shoulders and the knees under the hips. Feeling the weight of the body sinking down through the arm bones into the ground, down through the leg bones. And then On an inhale, letting the belly drop down as the tailbone curls up and feeling the breath rolling up from the belly to the ribs to the chest as the body moves and the eyes reach up. And then on the exhale, curling the tailbone down and feeling that wave rippling from the tailbone to the crown of the head as you exhale. Starting each movement with the breath and at the tailbone. Good. And then come back to neutral and take the hands, one hand's length forward. Spread the fingers really wide. Curl the toes under. Roll the elbows back, feeling how that impacts the shoulder blades. Good. And then take a breath in. And then push into the hands and lift the knees, but keep the knees bent. And then move the chest toward the thighs and the head toward the floor. And then inhale and push forward with the hands and feel the spine lengthening back. And breathe up and down the spine. Head is relaxed down. And then straighten the left leg. And inhale and send the right leg up. Exhale, drop the hips and bring the knee to the elbow. And then again, inhale, right leg up. Exhale, lowering to a plank with the knee to the elbow. Good. Again. And then we'll cross. On the exhale, you'll bring the knee to the opposite elbow. Two more. And then inhale the leg up, look forward, step the foot up between the hands. And then sink the hips down as low as they'll go. As low as they'll go with the back knee staying straight. And then inhale, right arm up. And exhale down. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale down. Two more on each side. And then we'll lift the hands and bring them to the thigh. And press down into the leg to lift the spine taller. Good. And then on an inhale, reach the arms out. Exhale, clasp the hands behind you. Roll the shoulder blades in and lift the fists as high as you can. If you're not able to clasp the hands, just reach behind you. and sink the hips. Press back into the left heel and aim the tailbone for the right knee. Breathe into the heart. Notice which thumb is on the outside so we can do the other way next time. And then just release the hands and keep them by your sides. Step a little bit forward with your back foot. Take your gaze to the ground and start to shift your weight and lift your back leg, taking your gaze straight down below your eyes. And then if you want, you can challenge yourself by extending the arms overhead instead. And then bring the hands to the ground. Step the back foot back. Step the right foot back. Come into plank. Good. And we'll do those knee to elbows again, but this time we'll hold. So we'll take the right knee to the elbow. And just straighten the leg back and then bring it to the other elbow. And then step back into plank. And then you can come straight into downward dog, or you can lower, coming into chaturanga, pushing up into upward dog, and then coming up and bend the knees, please. Let the chest drop, let the head hang. Spread the fingers and push them forward, sending the hips back. Feel the length of the spine. And then straighten the right leg. Exhale, the body sinks down. Good. And inhale, left leg up. Exhale, hips down, knee to elbow. Inhale up. Exhale down, knee to elbow. One more like that. And then across 3 times. Use your breath. The more you breathe, the more you oxygenate, the more you have strength. And then inhale up, look forward, and step the foot up between the hands, keeping the back heel off the ground. Sink your hips nice and low. That's it. And then bring the hands onto the thigh, pushing down the thigh so that you feel your body stretching up toward the sky. And then inhale, arms out to the side. Exhale, clasp the hands with the opposite thumb on the outside. The more awkward variation. And then sink. Roll the shoulder blades in toward each other. Breathe. Press back through the right heel and forward through the tailbone. And release the hands. Take a little step forward with the back foot. And then take your gaze to the ground. It's going to move toward you, but Start somewhere away from you and in front, and then start to shift your weight into your front foot. Lift your back leg, folding, trying to get your leg and your torso parallel to the ground, your gaze straight down. And again, the arms can stay back, they can be out to the side, they can come forward. And release the hands down, step the back foot back, come into plank, stay there. Good. And then we're gonna cross the hands to the opposite shoulders. So just touching. The knees can be on the ground if you need to modify that way. And last one. Holding plank or lowering if you need a rest. Good. And then we'll just lift one leg at a time. Last one. And then bring the knees down and sit back on the heels and release over toward the floor. Let's fold the arms alongside the body so that the shoulders can rest. Unless your head doesn't touch the ground, then you might want to just support your head with hands or fists. If the arms are alongside you, the palms are facing up, near the feet. And just let the weight of the arms melt over the thighs. The weight of the torso rests on the legs. And then feel the expansion and release of each breath. Now send the arms overhead. Walk them over to the right. Press the right hand into the ground, stretching the left hip back as the left arm reaches away. Feel how the breath opens into the stretch. See how interested you can be in the relationship between how the body is positioned and where the breath goes. Then you might notice the relationship between where the breath goes and the stretch that you get. Take it over to the other side, pressing the left hand, reaching the right arm, breathing the deepest breath that you can. And come back to center with the arms stretched overhead, keeping the hands in place. Lift the hips, spread the fingers, curl the toes, and lift the knees. Push into the hands, sending the hips back. And then straighten both legs, pressing both heels down. Pressing forward with the hands as you inhale, feel the long stretch from hands to sit bones. And when you exhale, lifting the belly and pressing back through the thighs and down into the heels. Almost like the breath is being pulled up from the earth through the hands along the back to the buttocks and then sent down the backs of the legs back into the earth on the exhale. And then lower the hips again, coming back into a plank or a modified plank with the knees down. And we're going to roll onto the outside of the right foot. The right knee can come down if you need to modify that way. And then you can have the left foot on the ground in front of you, but if you're able to, stack the left foot on top of the right foot. Spread the fingers of the right hand nice and wide so you have the maximum surface to balance on. And then we'll lift the left arm up in the air. And you can take the variation of having the arm overhead. You can take a leg variation of having the left foot to the inside of the left thigh, or even bringing your fingers around your big toe and lifting the leg that way. Or challenging your balance and more deeply strengthening your core muscles by closing your eyes. And then come back into plank. And we'll roll over to the outside of the left foot. Again, the knee can come down if that's necessary and helpful. The feet can stack or the foot can stay on the ground. Do any of the variations that you want. Eyes open or closed. And then come into plank or modified plank. And then bring the knees down. Take the hands a little wider than the shoulders. And then we're going to lower the chest to the floor. So the chest needs to be far enough away from the knees to touch the ground. So we're not doing a puppy pose, we're doing 8 points pose. And if your chest doesn't come to the ground, then again, it needs to move away from the knees even more until it touches. So the 8 points touching down are the 2 feet, the 2 hands, the knees, the chin, and the chest. Every exhale, sinking those points that touch into the earth a little more. And then straighten the legs, lower the body down. Press the hands into the ground, keeping the elbows by your side. And then lift the chest. Roll your eyes up. And then take the hands off the ground. Press down into the hips. So just a low cobra here. Reach the elbows back for your heels. Rest the hands back down, but just rest them there. Breathe up into the collarbones. And then relax down. Just resting on your forehead for a moment, feeling the legs and the buttocks relax. Feeling the breath finding its way through the body. And then pressing down into the tailbone, lifting the chin, lifting the chest, starting in our low cobra, and then coming into a king cobra if your body can do so. Pushing into the hands and rolling the front body away from the ground. Now, it's not this with the elbows out to the side. It's not this with the shoulders hunched forward. This is a heart opener. So roll the shoulders back. Let the shoulder blades move down the spine and toward each other. And keep the tailbone down so that the lower back is relatively neutral. And then take the gaze up and breathe up to the point between your brows. Beautiful. Lift your hips, curl your toes, push into your hands, and press back into downward dog. Walk the feet forward. And then roll yourself up, reaching up as you inhale. And exhale and folding over. Inhale, reaching all the way up. Exhale, folding over. One more time. And then stay in your forward bend. And bring your hands either behind the backs of your legs, or for those of you who can, tuck them under your feet. Don't do that if it makes you bend your knees. Try to keep your legs straight. And if your hands are on the backs of your legs, on the inhale, you'll push legs into hands and hands into legs. Exhale, just pressing the hands. And if your hands are tucked under your feet, on the exhale, you'll imagine that you're trying to pull your hands out from under your feet. And then we'll reverse the breath from what we did in downward dog, imagining that it's coming up from the earth through the feet and moving up from the feet to the sit bones. And then on the exhale, releasing down from the sit bones, over the back, off the crown of the head, back into the earth. If your hands are under your feet, release them. Soften the knees, tuck the chin, and roll up slowly. Reaching up as you inhale, take the arms up. Exhale down. And then inhale and lift the arms and interlace all the fingers except the index fingers. And hold the breath and pull up from the base of the spine, pull up from the navel, pull up from the solar plexus. Tuck the chin in and pull up from the throat. Press the tongue up to the roof of your mouth. Roll the eyes up, reach the fingers up, holding the breath. When you need to exhale, release the arms down. Turn the palms to face forward. Take one ujjayi breath through the back of the throat. And then we'll go up again. Back into steeple mudra, index fingers extending. Press down into the feet, lift tall. Lift from the perineum, the belly, the center, the throat, the tongue, the eyes. Pressing all that held breath up as though it's releasing through a chimney. And then when you need to exhale, release the hands down. Turning the palms forward, take an ujjayi breath. Close the eyes and just notice how you feel. And then we'll inhale the arms up again, coming back into steeple mudra, lifting tall, and exhale and bend to the left. Send the hips to the right. Press into the right foot and lengthen out through the right hand by using your left hand to pull it longer. Feeling the breath swelling and opening up under those ribs. Inhaling back up, coming nice and tall, and exhale to the right, sending the hips to the left. And pressing down into the left foot and pulling the left arm longer with the right hand. Inhaling into that space between the hip bone and the bottom rib. Exhaling, sinking. And inhale up. Exhale, release down. And just roll the shoulders a few times from the front to the back. And then let the shoulders rest. Let the body rest on the ground. Feel how heavy your feet are. Feeling your breath once again. And then bend the knees and bring weight into your left leg. Inhale the arms out. Exhale the right arm under the left, wrapping the arms, bringing the backs of the hands toward each other or the palms. And sitting down. And then looking past you, finding one spot as you lift your right leg and cross it over. Maybe the foot even hooks back. Maybe you can sit down lower in your chair. So I know we did this on Thursday, and you can see if you learned anything on Thursday that's you're bringing with you today that's helping you experience the pose more fully. I like to bring my belly in and down and really feel the length that affords my lower back. And breathe into the upper back, breathe into the whole back. Lift the elbows. And release. Close the eyes and notice what's here. It's really important not just to notice the physical, but the mental. So if there's judging or evaluating or shame or pride, just make sure you make a note of that and perhaps even take in how that feels. And when you notice the times when there isn't that, when there's just spacious awareness, when there's just sensation or breath or nothingness, and the thoughts are quiet, you can see how that feels. Just to teach your mind that what it thinks might be beneficial doesn't actually serve you, doesn't create more peace. Letting the weight shift into the right foot, sitting down, opening the arms with an inhale, bringing the left arm under the right as you exhale, moving the hands toward each other, or even around to touching, finding your gaze in front of you, and crossing the left leg over, hooking the foot behind if that's available, maybe finding your new gaze point with the body oriented slightly to the right, and sitting down, drawing the belly in and down, releasing those sit bones down, lifting the elbows up, feeling the stretch there, breathing into all of it. Release. Close the eyes, just taking in what you feel, everything that's happening. And then step the legs wide apart with the heels as wide as the small toes. So the outer edges of the feet are parallel to each other. And if you're still on your mat, you can check that the outer edges of the feet are parallel to the edge of your mat. Good. Take the arms out to the side. Take a couple of breaths here in your star pose. Feel the body expanding from the navel out to the fingers and the feet and the head in all directions, all 5 corners of the star. And then exhale and fold forward halfway, body parallel to the ground, dropping the chin so the head is parallel as well. Then you can leave the hands here. You can send them back if you want to work less, or forward if you want to work more. And then release the hands to the ground, shoulder width apart. Drop the head and walk the hands back until they're in between the feet. If the elbows happen to be bent, then keep them in line with the hands and the shoulders. If the hands don't come to the ground, then just let them hang, that's fine. And then push down into the feet and lift the thighs as you inhale. And then pull the navel in and up as you exhale, pushing forward with the fingertips, helping the body fold. And then bring weight into your hands, bending the knees if you need to in order to touch down. And then bring the knees to the ground. Cross the feet at the ankles and roll back behind your feet and all the way onto your back. Lifting your hips, tuck your tailbone, release down, and release the legs and shake them out. If you're using an eye pillow, place that on your eyes. We'll rest the arms out away from the body and take a deep breath in. Exhale, release the body into the ground. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out of the mouth, releasing the jaw, letting the lips part, the tongue relax. And then one more, inhale deep. Exhale out of the mouth, releasing the activity of the mind, letting go of thoughts and images and memories. So all the mental activity, whoosh, gone. Bringing the fullness of your attention to the breath. Can you bring all of you right onto the feeling of the breath? Letting the breath just be. So not straining to breathe, not even trying to breathe, just letting the body breathe. But with as little effort as you're bringing to the breath, that's how much focus you have on the breath. And the focus doesn't have to be effortful, but there's an intention, a determination, if you will, to stay with the breath. And that can be relaxed, but fixed. Tracking the breath from the beginning to the end. And with that intention to stay with the breath, perhaps it's easier to notice when the mind wanders off from the breath, which it will, no problem. But when you notice it, then you're already back to presence and you can return to the breath again and again, deeply relaxed, letting go, letting go, letting go. Breathe into your heart, move fingers and toes. Reach the arms overhead, take a deep breath, stretch long. Hug the knees to the chest and rock from side to side, massaging your back with the ground. And then come center, rub hand to hand and foot to foot, waking up the energy again. And roll on to either side, resting your head on your underside arm, resting your body on the ground, resting your mind in whatever is here in this moment. Slowly start to press yourself up to sitting. Let your head come up last. Sit however you're comfortable. Sinking down into the sit bones, lifting tall through the crown of the head. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hands together at the heart. Inhale the heart up to the hands. Exhale, shoulders relax down. Inhale deeply, breathing in from bottom to top. Take it all in. Let it all go. Drop the chin to the chest. Namaste.